Good day, everybody. Welcome to another broadcast. We haven't been here in a minute. YouTube has some issues, with yours truly, and so decided to tell me to go. I needed to go sit in the special seat outside of the digital plantation. So, so that's what happened. There are topics that we're not allowed to talk about on this platform. And they've made it very clear, they made it very clear that, don't dabble in that area, and for those who know, but that doesn't mean we're stopping. Just because we can't discuss those matters on this plantation, it doesn't mean. Someone said my mic is distorted. Hold on for a second here. Let me turn this off here. Hold on for a second here. The mic is going to go completely off, and then I'm going to turn it back on. Hold on.
All right.
All right, now let me know. Let me know, y'all, if the audio is fine. Hold on for a sec. I'm just going to wait for y'all. Let me know. 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 Let me know how my audio sounds. Okay, I just restarted it. Okay, someone said it's better. Let's see if we get another person that says it's better. Just waiting. Sounds good now. And let me get the number 3. Let me get the third person letting me know that the audio's better. Okay, let me know before I get started. Because once I get started, that's it. Sounds much better. Okay, there you go. All right, so again, welcome, y'all. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Things like that do happen, but we're cool. So thank y'all so much. As you know, this past week, YouTube made it mandatory for me to sit down because there are certain topics that I'm not allowed to talk about on this plantation, but that's okay. It doesn't mean that we're going to stop talking about it because it's way too important. For those who know, So we have a couple of options for you, or several options of places where we can fully discuss certain topics that we're not permitted to talk about on this digital plantation. And so for one, I'm on the app Threema, THREEMA. One more time, it's THREEMA. That's the app. It's called Threema. All right, not Dreamer. Someone said, and bless your heart, I know some of my older folks, they said that I think it's Dreamer or something like that. So it's TH. You can tell when you're talking to your elder folks. They come up with every name than what you said, and I'm laughing at myself because guess who's doing it now? Me. So I'm laughing with y'all, but this is the app right here. THREEMA. All right. That's the app. And this is, if you download it, I believe it's $6. Okay. It's not $6 a month. It's a one-time fee. $6, I believe it is now. It used to be cheaper than that, but prices went up or whatever. And so once you connect it with that, let me know. Let me see. Let me put this on the I'm gonna actually pull this up on the screen again. I had this before, but I want y'all to see it. So in case somebody comes back and like, I don't, how do I reach out to you and all of that? Okay. So anyway, let me make sure I put this on the screen for you so that you can know how to reach me. Okay. You can screenshot it and then you can look me up. Okay. All right. Bringing it up on my thing right now. Let me see. All right, here we go. All right, so this is me right here. All right, so that's how you're going to reach me, okay? That's how you reach me. Sorry, y'all, I got to charge my phone up. That is the contact right there, that UR85, that right there. When you get it, you're going to put in a to field that. Don't type in Dwayne, because there's a whole lot of Dwaynes out there, you know, but that particular one, that UR8539D7, that's how you reach me directly. So in the to field, that's what you're going to put in there. Okay. Then once you reach out to me and say, hey, I was just watching on YouTube, I want to be added to that group, go ahead and add me to it, and I'll go ahead and add you right to it. Okay. And in that group, basically it allows us to discuss, this current thing that, we'll mention a little bit of politics, but really the main thing that is eliminating a lot of people. Okay. And so that conversation has to be ongoing. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So we're going to continue to talk about that topic. And but this is the app where we're able to discuss those matters and talk about that kind of stuff. Okay, so just want to let you know that's one of the places that you can, where we continue our conversations there. Another place will be right here on it's the video streaming platform Odyssey. All right, and this is it right here. And this is where you'll find us. All of the videos that we pretty much do on YouTube automatically gets backed up here. Okay. It's Odyssey. Notice the spelling, ODYSEE.com. And this is where you will be able to reach us. In fact, I'll go ahead and put the link in the chat. Okay. So when you go into the chat, if you look in it, if you haven't, checked it out, make sure you bookmark it at least. Okay. You can sign up if you want to do that. That'll be great. And that way you can go ahead and subscribe, but at least have this bookmarked. Okay. Because this is where we upload videos, other videos that YouTube may not want us to upload. Okay. And so this gives us an avenue to do that. And so, in fact, I uploaded, it was actually 2 videos I uploaded this last week over here. This one here called Disagreeing with the, is it this one? Did I upload this one on YouTube? I can't remember now. Anyway, it might have been this one. Disagreeing with the vax narrative makes you something. And then preventing another Sonia Massey murder. We talked about that one as well. So those are 2 videos I believe I uploaded here. Well, one I know I uploaded here. I can't recall if this one was uploaded. I don't think this was uploaded on YouTube. No, it wasn't. I can answer that now. It was not. So these 2 for sure. If you want to check, make sure you check this here too, because we're always doing stuff. All right, we're always doing stuff here. And then as you can see right here, this is a video that my wife and I did like 2 years ago on that very topic. And so so it doesn't stop. When it comes to, people being minused, out of the general population, well, we need to be talking about that, right? So anyway, so in today's broadcast, what we're going to do is a couple of things. We got quite a few things, actually, we're going to do. The main topic is I came across a letter that was put out back in 2020, and it was put out by 100 black men or whoever they are. Still trying to find 100 black men, whoever they are. I know it's an organization. I'm just being funny. But, it was put out by a group of black men. Similarly, what we witnessed in the last few weeks. Okay. That they were begging then Vice President Joe Biden to get Kamala Harris, to make Kamala Harris his VP. All right. We're going to look at the details of that letter, because there's something in that letter that really stuck out to me. And I said, man, these people, the depths know no bounds. So we're going to look at that letter. I also got a copy of the letter that was sent by women. Same thing, begging then Vice President Joe Biden to make sure that Kamala Harris is picked as the VP. So we're going to look at that as well. I also have video clips and stuff that I've collected over the week. We'll be looking at that as well, and other news items. So we're going to start off, but I do want to start off with this announcement with an album. Because, see, I told you I'm going, y'all. I told you when I cross that finish line, I want to make sure I can say, man, I gave it everything I got. I do. Just because I'm getting older doesn't mean I'm like, well, I'm just waiting for the Jesus bus to come and pick me up, and I'm just gonna sit here. I ain't sitting. I'm not sitting. I'm running. Okay, you hear me? And even if I'm old people running, I'm running. I was out the other day. It's starting to get a little bit cooler, actually. Because listen, it's right now. What's the temperature out here in Arizona? It is 102. So for you may hear that and be like, what? That ain't cooler. Yeah, it actually is, because when you go from 102 to, let's say, 115, 116, yeah, that's a big difference. So it's actually a little bit cooler, but I usually go out earlier in the day. And yesterday I went out because it was so cool. It was like 80, in the low 80s. And I actually was running. I was like, okay, I felt my help coming back, because I haven't done that in a moment, because once it gets hot, I ain't running out there. Okay. Unless I'm running for my life. Okay. But no. And even that, I probably won't get too far, because that heat out there, Jack, you won't even see Satan out there running. He like, listen, I'll take the bus. You can rebuke me on the bus, okay? I'll be on the AC bus, and you can rebuke me there, because it's too hot out there, okay? But no, ain't nobody running out there. I ain't even a bike out there, for real, not like that, unless I got some way to cool off. But anyway, so yeah, I was doing that, and it's good to feel that the temperature is starting to change just slightly. And next thing you know, y'all, we'll be in August. We're getting ready to be in August and getting ready to go into September. My goodness, it's time ain't waiting for nobody. Well, and so those are the things we're going to talk about today. I do want to show you guys, I posted today, I just dropped our second album. Wow. I just dropped our second album. Who would have thought I would be cutting albums? Well, I'm using AI, but still. Okay. But it does take some time to put it together and tell it what to put in and all that stuff. So that's what I was doing too. Because I told you I wasn't going to be just sitting there like, oh man, YouTube ain't letting me say. No, we're going to keep on moving. So that's what I did. I finally got that project done. And so what we're going to do before we get into our main topic, I'm actually let me go ahead and bring up the album here, and I'll tell you a little bit about it, and then I'll play just a couple of songs for him, and then we'll go ahead and get into what we're going to be talking about today. So this is the name of the album, Course Correct. This is the name of the album. It's called Course Correct, and I'll go ahead and read the little thing I put in there. It's $3.99. $3.99. And when you go to sambatree.com, you want to go to new arrivals. When you go to new arrivals, it will be right there. Okay. So anyway, for our second album, I wanted to find a way to express where I feel like I am at this time. Breaking free from man-made religion is an ongoing task that doesn't just happen overnight. But as you are making your way out of the matrix system, you get peeks into all the new possibilities of what your life can be. This brought me to how, as a child growing up in the 70s in Philadelphia, I was always very fascinated with space travel and all things sci-fi, from toys. How many of y'all old enough to remember Micronauts? Okay, let's see how many of y'all old. Okay, that was the Tron before Tron. Okay, but anyway, I was always very fascinated with space travel and all things sci-fi, from toys to endless Star Wars drawings. I used to draw Star Wars all the time, and I can literally see it in my mind. I used to draw the Death Star. I used to draw the X-Wings. I remember my friend in school used to show me how to draw the X-Wing and how to draw Darth Vader ships and the planes that shaped like an H, those, the Imperial fighters, sorry. And then the little stars and the little planets and all that, lasers and all that stuff. I used to do that all the time. I mean, literally all the time. And then I said, from toys to endless Star Wars drawings, thinking about what could be beyond the dome kept me thinking about all the things I could be when I grow up. During a recent visit to the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C., I walked right into the Afrofuturism section and was reminded of the many of those same memories, dreaming about space as a child. Keyboard work from artists like Herbie Hancock, Stevie Wonder, and others had a certain sound at times that kept my mind thinking about my own place in the future. I love listening to their keyboard work, the electronic keyboard work. It just, in that time, see, it's nothing right now to some people, but man, during that time, when you hear them electronic keyboards and stuff, it just puts something in my mind. Like, I just thought of space, and, the Parliament, Funkadelics, all that, they projected that kind of stuff, future thinking, but it didn't start then. I mean, it goes on when you start going into African history as well. There is futurism, and so it's a really interesting genre to look into. And you're going to be seeing, I've been doing some Afrofuturism artwork I want to share with y'all. I'll be doing that in the near future. I said, so to be able to tell my younger self that I am now using AI technology to create music, I think he would literally be over the moon. And so, yeah, so here are the album, the songs I got on there: Now Boarding, Confused No More, Solar Energy, Man, Let's Go, Islands in the Sky, I'm Good, Are You, and More Than Digital. And so that's kind of where I am, realizing how much nature really has to offer us as individuals, and everything from healing to deeper understanding of things. Nobody's telling you to go worship a tree or anything like that, because you always get every now, the one person that comes in, what are you worshiping now? I don't understand. I was confused. And, well, be confused no more. Okay. Nobody's telling you to do all that. We are recognizing that inside of nature is a wealth of information and knowledge. This is why every day I make it a point to expose myself to the most amount of sunlight as possible to my body. And I'm gonna tell you, I've seen some things already happening, and I'm not exaggerating. I had a tooth pain. I won't say tooth pain. It wasn't pain. It was just a slight numbing, right? And sat out there in the sun. When I was done, it was gone. I had a headache. Same thing. Sit out there in the sun. It was gone. I come out of there, man. I tell you, the ideas and stuff like that I start getting, it just starts coming back, So, man, it's really exciting. This is what I just encourage people to do, to really start plugging into. If you want to understand our creator, you got to go to creation, right? So anyway, let me go ahead and play some of my music here, and it's available now on SambaTree.com, and you can go there. So let me see which one I'll go with first. I think I want to go with Now Boarding. Okay, so I'm gonna play that one for us. This one is called Now Boarding. All right, I'm gonna actually play two songs. All right, so here we go. Just gives you an idea of what it sounds like.
Funky rhythm, feel the groove. Let your body sway, let your spirit move. Horn section blazing, keys come alive. Feel the soul in every note, in every dive.
All right, that was Now Boarding. Because I'm ready to get on this ship and come on out of this matrix, man. I don't know about you, but yeah, that's Now Boarding. And again, what you see on the screen there, that's the album. This is part of the album. You get 7 songs, $3.99. I mean, you literally can't beat that at all. Let's see, what's the next one I got here? And then I'll play maybe another one later on, but let me try to figure which one I want to play here. Hold on for a sec. I think this one. This is Man, Let's Go. I'm just going to fade that one out there. I'm just giving you a little bit of there right there. It was one I was trying to get to that's quieter. Okay, let me see if I could get one. This one's a little bit funky. I'll just let you know this whole album. I think y'all heard this one. This is called Islands in the Sky. I'm gonna fade out that one again. That one is called Islands in the Sky. All right, and then maybe when we're closing out the broadcast today, I'll play one more for you. Again, what you see on the screen there, you get 7 songs. That's just, I just played just some samples of a few of them right there. This is our latest album that we just dropped today. If you go to Sobertree.com, and this is where you will find it. Okay, $3.99 here. And while you're there, make sure you check out the rest of the webpage, Sobertree.com. Last week we dropped these hand armor EMF protection gloves. If you're someone that's on your phone a lot, if you're on your computer a lot, and you find that your hands are getting achy, it's largely has to do with the fact that EMF, that radiation, is probably the main culprit. My wife definitely is very sensitive to this, and when she started wearing these gloves, it made a huge difference when it comes to when she's on the computer and all of that. We even have something for your router, so your router will still work. If you put this on, it will still work. but it just cuts down the amount of EMF that's being put out there. And then we have a lot of other things on here. If you go again on sombertree.com, we have everything from teas to different herbs to things on your body. We believe in 100% natural on the body as much as possible, going on your body and going in your body. So check all this stuff out. Again, the webpage is sombertree.com. All right, so let's go ahead and move on and let's get into the main event what we're going to be talking about this evening. So another thing, what we were doing, I told you, on Threema, that we're on Threema. We're also, we have a blog, and the blog is journeymanandwoman.com. Again, it's journeymanandwoman.com. That's the blog right now. And then let me go ahead and pull that up right here. So I posted some things on here. We did, let's see, because I was doing a lot of stuff there. I'll just bring this one up right quick here. I posted a video on our other YouTube page. We have another YouTube page. It's called, where is it? Right here. Hold on for a second. Let me pull it up for you. Long form history. Hold on for a second. Let me get out of here. Hold on. Let me get out of this John here. Hold on. All right, it's called Long Form History, and let me pull that up here for you. I actually posted a link to it on my on our community page here. So let me go to the community page right quick. And for some of you, this is your first time, welcome. I know that you're like, well, dang, when you gonna get to the main thing? I already been on here for a minute. I've been away for a minute. This is why I'm just doing some catch up here. So pardon me. Okay. I do apologize. I'm just trying to play catch up here. So this is our other page, longformhistory.com. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and do that. That's where I was going to upload this video over on long form history, but over here, but I said, man, people will tune out real quick. But what we did was, last week, everybody was in an uproar about this whole thing regarding the Olympics and, they're mocking Christianity and all of that. They went into all of that and people were losing their minds over that because they felt that Christianity was being mocked. But what we did was we actually took a closer look at that. And when you look at the history, first of all, number one, the Olympics in of itself, the name tells you that it's not a Christian event. Okay, let's start off with that. What was Olympia? They're talking about Mount Olympus. Mount Olympus was where in Greek mythology is where the 12 gods and goddesses of Greece sat. And that's where they did their thing and all that stuff. They would do parties and all that stuff and they would sit high and look at low. Okay, that's where they came from. That's where that came from. They would sit high and look at low on the people. And so, long story short, the Olympics was something that the Grecians put together as a way of celebrating all 12, gods and goddesses of Mount Olympus. And so it makes sense that they would do something like they did, where people are like, losing their minds over, it's the, it's the Last Supper. Well, when we start digging into it, we found out that, yes and no. Yes and no. Because they did come out and say, yeah, we were, it was off of the Last Supper. We were pulling from that, but they included this blue creature here that you see on your screen, and that's Dionysus or Dionysus, depending on who you're talking to. Well, once they said that just opened the discussion up even more because we found out so many other things as well on this. So just because, and this is what I said on there, just because you have faith and believe that just because you have faith and believe in the Last Supper that it really happened and all that stuff, it doesn't make it fact. It doesn't. Okay. It doesn't make it fact. And so, so a lot of people got checked on that, but they still, people still in denial. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But this is what they were presenting was in fact actual history. And then video that I just did that I posted on Long Form History, I show you all kinds of paintings that were similar to what they were presenting in this Olympic ceremony, and showing you that, yeah, they were actually portraying that. That's what they were portraying, and they make no qualms about it. They're not even trying to hide it. And so it's really something. And then the video that I did for our research group, man, I found out even more. I'm trying to tell you, I found out even more how deep this thing really goes. And so it's really something. So if you're interested in that video, make sure you sign up for our research group. And we talked about that and went into detail on that. Okay. So now let's go ahead and get into the main topic of this broadcast here. We're going to go right to this right here. Okay, so I did a podcast. So yeah, that was another thing I did. We talked about, this topic that we're going to be getting into tonight. So anyway, just real quick, I'm not going to even play these videos because they just make me sick. Okay, to see these grown, dusty behind men up here crying over a candidate. I just no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I ain't doing this. I'm not doing this. I'm not playing. You can't make me. You can't make me play it. So you need to go back and you need to watch those videos. Watch that. Go to that podcast, and I provide a link at the top here. Okay, if you want to listen to the podcast, we talked about that. Okay, I also talked about this here, and this is what I want to talk about with you now. Okay, so this is the letter that went out back in 2020. All right, back in 2020, this was a letter that was put out. They said more than 100 Black male leaders signed statement of solidarity requiring a Black woman vice president. Right? Now, this is going to be interesting because, people have been saying a lot of things about Kamala Harris, calling her different names and stuff like that. She slept her way to the top and all of that. By the way, with Judge Mathis, let me just say this. Judge Mathis, his latest thing, I was just on Twitter, and I mean, he's outright calling this woman a whore. He's like saying she's a whore and all that. And some things, it's just too much. It's too much. It's just too much. I mean, and I question a lot of times, I said, why y'all still got this guy, giving him a platform? I mean, literally, that's not helping the conversation. It's not helping the dialogue. Most importantly, it's not helping the conversation that many Black men are trying to have on this topic that aren't on the Kamala bandwagon. You can't have a Negro like that saying that kind of stuff out here, because that he clearly doesn't represent many of the Black men that I know who are saying that I ain't with Kamala. Because most men don't have a problem with a woman being in charge of anything. Not really. But it's the agendas that try to get bundled with it. We have the anti-male agendas that's the agendas that we have problems with. I have a problem with a woman leading something. But when you got to go off on Black men because we ain't, if you don't agree with her, then you're anti-Black woman. Number one, let's say it again, all together now in unison. She ain't Black. Okay. She's not Black. She's an Indian woman. That's something that she's embraced. That's a big part of her culture. And we're going to hear someone talking about her father. Okay. We're going to get into that. But anyway, yeah, Judge Mathis, he need to go sit all the way down. I'm sorry. Because that's not how you have a respectful dialogue. You can agree to disagree, but you don't have to go there with that. But anyway, here's the letter that was written back. It was posted and distributed back in 2020. I remember this very clearly. So let's go ahead and read it. It says more than 100 Black male leaders signed statement of solidarity requiring a Black woman vice president, and then hashtag win with Black women. Now, I know y'all have seen that hashtag recently, haven't you? And so and so they're bringing it up again. So let's read it. As someone who has said throughout the campaign that Vice President Joe Biden needs to choose a Black woman vice president, the urgency for that pick has gone from something that should happen to something that has to happen. It disgusts us as Black women that black women are not just being vetted in the vice president process, but unfairly criticized and scrutinized. Let's continue here. Was Joe Biden ever labeled too ambitious? Now I want you okay, hold on. Let me continue to read it. Was Joe Biden ever labeled too ambitious because he ran for president 3 times? Should President Obama not have made him the vice president because he had to worry about his loyalty when he clearly had ambitions to be president himself? Why does Senator Kamala Harris have to show remorse for questioning Biden's previous stance on integrated busing during a Democratic primary debate? Now, this is the part that we're going to get into. That I'm going to show you how these dusty Negroes, how they what they threw in this letter. All right, you ready? Let's read it. It says, have Democratic Party leaders, allies, or donors ever requested Joe Biden to show remorse for the 1986 or 1988 anti-drug abuse bills, which established mandatory minimum sentencing and subsequently crack cocaine sentencing disparities, and by his own admission led to mass incarceration? What about the 1994 crime bill? Let's be clear about the kind of remorse and reckoning that matters in 2020 when the black community is still suffering the consequences for these oppressive measures. So black women are the only ones required to stay in their place and not show remorse for even questioning their own oppression. Let me continue. Let me read this, finish this out, and I'm going to come back to that paragraph right there. Okay. For too long, black women have been asked to do everything from rally the troops to risk their lives for the Democratic Party with no acknowledgement, no respect, no visibility, and certainly not enough support. More than 700 black women signed on to a letter demanding a black woman VP, and we black men stand in solidarity with them. Failing to select a black woman in 2020 means you will lose the election. We don't want to choose between the lesser of the two evils. Whoa. Okay, this thing is screaming for me to stop. We don't want to choose between the lesser of the two evils, and we don't want to vote for the devil we know versus the devil we don't, because we are tired of voting for devils, period. In solidarity. And then you scroll down here. Guess who's the first name on the list? Sean Combs. That's right. The same one that's out here got a whole record. Nobody wants to be aligned with that Negro. Sean Combs is the first one. And the second one, the government plant, Charlemagne the God. And then you got all the preachers and all that, you got, Jamal Bryant, and you got who else on here? Oh, interesting enough, you also got Van Jones, the crybaby #1, and then later on you have Bakari Sellers, who's crybaby #2 on there. So let's get back here to this paragraph. I want to read this paragraph again because I want to make sure you got it. Have the Democratic Party leaders, allies, or donors ever required Joe Biden to show remorse for the 1986 or 1988 anti-drug abuse bills, which established mandatory minimum sentencing and subsequently crack cocaine sentencing disparities, and by his own admission led to mass incarceration? What about the 1994 crime bill? Let's be clear about the kind of remorse and reckoning that matters in 2020 when the black community is still suffering the consequences for these oppressive measures. So, black women are the only ones required to stay in their place and to show remorse for even questioning their own oppression. Now, let me stop there for a second because I feel myself already getting angry here. Because see what this letter shows, and I have a letter, a link, by the way. If you go to the bottom here, I have a link to one of the letters that was written by 200 black women, basically making the same, demands. Okay. What makes me very angry at this is because all of these Negroes that are out here that are saying that they got to get Kamala Harris in the White House, which she's already in there, but they got to get her in the president's seat, is the fact that these Negroes already knew. They have conveyed in this letter everything that black people who are standing up today saying they're not going to vote for her, they are conveying what they are saying. But yet, if a black man especially gets up here and says the same exact thing that's in this letter that they wrote back in 2020, that black man is automatically called out as a woman hater. He doesn't support black women, and he just hates himself, and he's not even black. And in the words of Joy Reid, saying that you out here looking funny. But back in 2020, y'all were saying the same thing that we're saying today. The same thing. So these Negroes know that this was extremely problematic for Joe Biden. But even with this history, knowing this history of Joe Biden, you know what they wanted? They said, bump all that. We know we got a lot of black people in prison. We know what you did in terms, your crime bills and the impact, the negative impact that this bill has had and continues to have to this very day on black people. We know the impact of that, but bump all that. We ain't concerned about that. All we want is somebody that looks like us sitting in the White House. That's the trade-off that they wanted. Not, listen, Joe Biden, this is your record. And we're just letting you know you ain't getting our vote, period. Until you address this, until you make some firm commitments that you're going to take care of this, you're going to eliminate this, you ain't getting our vote. Instead of taking that kind of stance, they said, we want an Indian woman who's married to a Jewish man in the office. Someone asked, when was this letter written? Back in 2020. So they knew this. They want to act like, so it just amazes me that this thing can be said. People are saying the same thing. Black men are saying the same thing today, and black women. If you've been on Twitter, there's plenty of black women that are saying, she ain't my mammy. You remember that line from Color Purple? She ain't my mala. It's a lot of black folks that ain't trying to do this again. I wish so much that I can play that clip from what was it? Boondocks. Here you got Boondocks, the cartoon. They did a whole entire episode on the Obama thing, where black folks were losing their minds because they had somebody up there that looked like them. They were making fun of all of this stuff. And here we are in 2024, and here we go again. It's like people just don't get it. They don't. And it just amazes me how these people have these short memories. This is why I did the video that I did. I posted. Did I post it yesterday? I think I posted it. Yes. Or it was like late last night. I posted it talking about the Boule fraternity, or more so Alpha Phi Alpha. And, because John H. Johnson, who's behind Johnson Publications, who gave us Ebony and Jet magazine and the Ebony fashion showcase and all of that attached to that. He's an Alpha Phi Alpha. In that video, if you haven't watched it, you need to go back and watch it. For those of you who maybe were too young or you have short memories, it's okay. Thankfully, we have tools out here where we can revive our short memories. And in that video, and many of y'all who are old enough remember, is if you go through Ebony magazine, you will see in the olden days, back in the day, you're going to find quite a few ads in there for skin whitener. And so in the video, I talked about how, because we went back into the early days on how these fraternities, sororities, how these Masonic orders, how they started. They started simply because, not because it was needed. Black people didn't need a fraternity and sorority because Jim Crow was an equal opportunity destroyer when it came to black folks. It saw black folks one way and one way only. So Jim Crow took care of all of that. There were a group of Negroes that wanted to be white people so bad, they went and said, we need to go and we need to create our own secret societies, because the white man, we try to get into the white man's fraternities and sororities. So let's build our own. And that's exactly what they did. So ever since then, this group of people are so obsessed with wanting white acceptance. You can still see it even to this day. And then going back to Ebony Magazine again, when you go in Ebony Magazine, you see that, you remember the covers back in the day, they always highlight a lot of the light-skinned women, always had them on the cover. And it wasn't until later on, then all of a sudden then they switched up now. And someone brought out, it was really interesting, they brought out in the, they said it wasn't until the white magazines started featuring dark-skinned women that they said that Ebony said, oh, well, they doing it. Well, I guess it's okay now. I guess we can have some black women up in here. And here you got Roland Martin, who is also an Alpha Phi Alpha, reposting this thing they just had. White women answer the call, show up for Kamala Harris. So I want you to understand just how crazy this is. I want you to understand this. Okay, walk with me for a second. So what this says to me, and what this says to so many other black men like me, is that Alpha Phi Alpha and all the other boule, I was getting ready to say something, but all of that class, they much rather have a table talk with Karen than to sit down and have a hard conversation with black men who don't see eye to eye. That's how you build community. So instead of them doing that, Roland Martin, the problem, the thing that really irritates me is because every time this man opens his mouth, he reminds me of an old grandmother, just always just fussing, and his old no-neck self, just always fussing. And where do you think you are? And first of all, and the finger be wagging and all that, and it just, I just can't stand. I'm telling you, nothing about it reflects masculinity to me. Absolutely none of it. It doesn't. It doesn't. Absolutely nothing. Period. And I've had personal run-ins with him. This is going back some years ago, Jack. So I ain't talking about from this is going back years ago, early 2000s, when blogging was just starting to come up or whatever. The blog I had at that time was getting a lot of attention. And Roland Martin, he was one of the people that was reading it. And we were going back and forth. Oh, yeah, I remember. We got a little tiny history. But this man always be picking fights and always running his mouth. And so my history with him goes back, Jack. And so, but I do give him credit on some things and what he was doing with black newspapers. Maybe if I have time, I'll talk about that. But here, this man these organizations much rather talk to white women than to sit down and talk to black men who may have a difference of opinion. Instead, the where you're going, the direction is, if you have a difference of opinion, then you're not black. If you have a difference of opinion, we don't need to hear you. You're just a waste of time. You're an anchor. Get out of here. But they much rather sit down and talk with white women. And it amazes me to sit back and I see how these black women, there's a black preacher down in Texas somewhere that got up there and he was saying, I ain't voting for no Trump anymore. I'm switching my vote to Kamala or whatever, right? And then you should see the amount of white people up there talking about, hey, I would love to go to that church. And, oh, he sounds real good. And, oh, he can preach to me all day and all this stuff. And I'm sitting up here like, wow, that's really what the goal is here. That's really what the goal is. That's what you wanted. And when we're talking about real community activism, when we're talking about real things that are impacting the black folks in this country, I'm sorry, that's black folks. Okay, I ain't talking to other people on that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not going across the street to Karen. I'm not going across the street to talk to Mr. Chow. I ain't going across the street to speak to Mr. Gomez. Okay, I can have respect for him on other things, but this is in-house situation, and I don't need your amens. Keep your amens over there, over there. You understand what I'm saying? Stay out of it. But to sit back and to witness how these Negroes are sitting up there like, I just feel magic in the air. You know, it just seems like it's just something going on. It's just something powerful, you know, and then as soon as a black man said, well, you know, I disagree. Wow, shut up. What you talking about? You know, all of a sudden, then you just want to jump all on black men for saying stuff. It's amazing. So anyway, let me take you to, now we're going to go to Twitter because I have bookmarked a whole lot of things on Twitter here. And let me see here. So just a couple of things here that happened. So today, now this was a really interesting development. Trump, and I don't know, I haven't seen any clips or anything like that yet, but let me bring this up on the screen here. But this was a really interesting development here. Hold on. And just to be clear, too, as I'm bringing this stuff up here, number one, y'all, we ain't pulling for anybody on this platform. Do you hear what I'm saying? I ain't pulling for Democrats and I ain't pulling for Republicans. OK, so if you are someone that wants to vote, that's your priority. That's your prerogative. If that's what you want to do, you do that. What we want to do on this platform here is to provide you factual information, regardless on what side you go, and then that's it. And then just leave it at that. That's it. That's it. At the end of the day, who we are, everybody's arguing about I want this one to be the president. No, I want this one to be the president. They are not running anything. If y'all really think that Kamala Harris is going to be sitting up there or, you know, telling, okay, Putin, I got something for you, you know, in the finger wagging and all that. Do you really think that really works in when you're dealing in that kind of air? No. But that's sure going to turn on a lot of, my little daughter, she saw a black woman, you know, telling Putin about, you know, that he better stop the war, and Putin had to listen to a black woman. I'm telling you, it's just what the heck. And again, she ain't black. OK, but anyway, and I'm going to show you some of the press that they've been putting out here, too. It's crazy. So anyway, so here you have this event that's scheduled for tomorrow. It's with the National Association of Black Journalists. OK, and they're having an event scheduled for tomorrow where they open it up. Typically what they do is they will try to open it up for both candidates. Now, I can go back and remember that there have been some years where the Republican ain't even bother showing up. You know, for good reason. I mean, but it, you know, they just ain't showing up. You know what I'm saying? Because it's an automatic no, you know, but Trump actually is showing up. And the co-chair of this convention announced today that she's quitting, or not quitting. She's stepping down from her co-chair position. And she said, well, there's other reasons, but, you know, I'm just going to step down and all of this stuff. Right. And then you have all kinds of black journalists that have been getting up here irate that Trump, how is he showing up here? How are we giving him a platform for this? How dare Trump shows up at a journalist convention? How dare he shows up here? I said, you Negroes just invalidated yourself even more. I don't care who you like. What this shows is that these gatekeepers are mad that someone made a decision to actually be a journalist for a change. If you don't like it, then that's okay. That's you. But ask him the same hard questions that you would ask Kamala. Oh, that's right. Y'all don't really ask hard questions to Kamala, do you? But ask him. If he's showing up, I showing up, and I was like, I don't like this man. I showing up will have all my questions for. Mainly, I would be asking about what he said the other day, talking about what did he say? He said something about he want to give federal protection to police officers. Oh, you doggone right. I'm gonna have some questions about that. Why am I gonna be scared and mad that he's showing up? This will be my opportunity to be like to bring that up into his face. But they mad. They mad. But you know where Kamala gonna be? At least this is what the schedule is at the time of this recording. Oh, she gonna be with some hip hop artist. The girl, what's the girl name? Not Cardi B, the other one. She gonna be doing something with some hip hop girl, part-time stripper girl. She gonna be doing that. But as far as I know, she ain't scheduled to. She's been invited, but as far as I know, at this time, she's not coming there. Maybe it's because she already knows that's in the bag. Maybe because she understands that most of the people that are in the NABJ are her fraternity and sorority brothers and sisters. So there's really no need for them to come anyway. Let me just say this too about the NABJ. Okay, let me say this too, because again, I have a little bit of history with that too. All right. Now the NABJ, this was going back early 2000s. Now again, I had this blog that I was doing, and I would write about a bunch of political things and all of that. Actually was featured in Politico. Yeah. So and I was on NPR radio and all of that stuff. And then I just walked away because the political stuff, it's just too much. It's just a never ending cycle of just fakery and all that stuff. So I was just done with it. But what I noticed, I did a post on my blog where I talked about how these black newspapers, how they are making themselves ineffective and irrelevant, because this was during the time where blogs started coming up. People started doing blogs. If you were in the political space, you would do political blogs. If you were in anything. So blogs were the thing to do at that time. You had Facebook, it was in its infancy. You had some other things, but really blogs were it. If you really were trying to do something, this was it. If you are someone trying to, if you wanted to launch a blog, this would be the time to do it. This is the best time to do it. If you wanted to launch, particularly a political blog, this will be the best time to do it because there's a lot of attention out there right now. So anyway, what I did was I went through all the black newspapers, all the papers that are associated with the NABJ. And I did an evaluation of all of the newspapers to see if they had a digital presence. And I went through each and every one. And at that time, they were behind. They barely had a page up. And so then I started looking at it again, even deeper. And I was saying, this is ridiculous. Why is it that you got two black newspapers in the same state? There only needs to be one. And I started making suggestions. Again, they didn't ask me to do this, but I was doing this on my own because I'm looking at this. I was like, this is just messy. And so what I did was I made a suggestion. I said, what needs to happen? These newspapers need to become regionalized. Instead of it being two new black newspapers in the same city or in the same state, you need to create more regional papers. That's number one, so that you're consolidating resources so that you ain't begging for every daggone issue you put out for more money. You don't need to do that. Regionalize it so that you can consolidate your resources and then you can cover things based on the region. That was number one. Number two, I said you need to immediately develop a web presence. You need to develop web pages and you need to get your stuff online. Everything that you're putting on these newspapers, that's cute and all. You still putting them in the gasoline stations or on the street, but you need to be on the internet. Don't you? They rejected all of that. But like I said, I'm going to give credit to who credit is due. Roland Martin at that time, he went to the Chicago Defender. He was actually hired by them. And they basically said, hey, listen, we need to do something. They actually had enough vision to see we need to do something. And so he actually went in there, got them online. He actually developed a podcast for them and all of that. And so Chicago Defender to this day is, if you ask the average person, name me a black newspaper, it would probably be the Chicago Defender. Outside of the Chicago Defender, you ain't gonna hear nobody. If you ask someone right now, name me 3 black newspapers that are functioning today, I guarantee you most people won't even be able to name, they'll barely be able to name 1 or 2. So the NABJ has been rendered ineffective for black people for a very long time. It wasn't always like that. They were very effective in its time, but they refused to break out of their narratives, out of their boule narratives, and begin to actually listen to what people are saying on the streets. Instead, they see themselves as a bunch of gatekeepers that are going to sit down and tell black people what to think, what to believe, and to shut out any opposing views. And that's what pissed me off about this when it came to Trump. It ain't about supporting Trump or not supporting Trump. It's about doing your job as a journalist. And if you're going to be pissed off and go walk off and all that, it shows exactly what you're about. You're mad because Kamala ain't showing up. You're mad because Kamala really she already know you in the bag. That's what's messed up about that. So anyway, let's continue here. So let me look through, continue to look for our, my Twitter here. Now this is this the video here? Hold on. No, this ain't the video. I'm just gonna keep scrolling here, y'all, and I'll show you some things here. Now this is Kamala Harris. Now, again, everything I'm showing you at this point now is in no particular order here. Now, Kamala Harris, someone recorded her recently. They asked her a question regarding firearms, and I want you to take a listen to what she's saying about that. This is something that should be of great importance to many families. I don't care you're black or not. If you're looking to looking for ways to defend your home, this is what she is saying. Okay, let's take a listen.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, but I mean, listen, I don't think we lack for great ideas. As I've said many times, we've been having great ideas for decades. The problem is that Congress has not had the courage to act. And that is why, from the beginning, I have said, my agenda includes attempting to get Congress to act, but if they don't within the first 100 days of my administration, I'm going to take executive action. Because what we need is action.
So she said the first 100 days, she's looking to take executive action, basically to going further into basically gun confiscation. That's where she's going. And she's also mentioned that she actually admires the way Australia has handled gun control. You know what Australia did? In case you don't know, Australia, I believe I was reading about it. They confiscated over 600,000 guns. Over 600,000 guns. Now, for some of you who don't like guns, okay, that's your choice. But there are a lot of people out here who are very responsible gun owners, and they ain't out here shooting up everything that moves. And to take that away from people, it's ridiculous. And it takes us one step closer to where this system is going anyway. And so for black folks to blindly support that, you're ridiculous. And let me also say this, going back to what I talked about, DEI. This is very important for the short attention span people. DEI. What does DEI, what is that about? What is that about? DEI means diversity, equity, and inclusion. Let me say that again. DEI means diversity, equity, and inclusion. Do you know who that also includes? When you say DEI and you're wanting to defend DEI, that also includes LGBT. That's who that also includes. So when you have our one of the black woman who's the Supreme Court justice when someone asked her point blank what defined a woman, and she said, I don't know what basically she refused to define what a woman is. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, this is who you're going to be competing against. You're going to be competing against people who identify as woman. That includes your black behind. So this is who you're going to be competing against. Let me just share this with you right here. This is what you're competing against.
She can get bills passed in Congress that'll protect me and you.
Black, white, Latino, Asian, or LGBTQ.
She could get this country back to where we can stand tall, keeping us safe from harm without building a wall. 'Cause she's a woman, W-O-M-A-N. I'll say it again. She's a woman.
So black men that have an issue with this, we're the problem. We're the problem. We're the ones that got a problem here. If we got an issue with this, if we're saying we don't want this kind of behavior around our children, we're the problem. And you got black women that will step over black men to embrace this kind of stuff. This is why I'm not okay with the nonsense. See, my thing is you do what you want. I don't care what you do. But when you are just willy-nilly pushing these kind of things simply because you just want to see somebody that looks kind of sort of like you in the White House, you need to go and sit down. You need to go sit all the way down. This is let me pull this up here. Let me see where was this in here? Hold on. Do y'all remember in this obsession with having somebody in the office that kind of sort of looks like you? This has been ongoing. How many of y'all remember this? Do you remember this individual here? Toni Morrison. Do y'all remember what Toni Morrison wrote? This is back, she was talking about Bill Clinton. I want you to look at what she said here. Okay, I'll read it for you. This is in the New Yorker. African-American men seem to understand it right away. Years ago, in the middle of the Whitewater investigation, one heard the first murmurs, white skin notwithstanding, this is our first black president. Blacker than any actual black person who had ever been elected in our children's lifetime. After all, Bill Clinton displays almost every trope of blackness: single parent household, born poor, working class, saxophone playing, McDonald's and junk food loving boy from Arkansas. And when virtually all the African American Clinton appointees began one by one to disappear, when the president's body, his privacy and sexuality became the focus of the persecution, when he was metaphorically seized and body searched, who could gainsay these black men who knew whereof they spoke? The message was clear: no matter how smart you are, how hard you work, how much coin you earn for us, we will put you in your place, or you will put you out of the place you have somehow, albeit with our permission, achieved. You will be fired from your job, sent away in disgrace, and who knows, maybe sentenced and jailed to boot. In short, unless you do as we say, i.e. assimilate at once, your explicits belong to us. This is how she described Bill Clinton, ladies and gentlemen. And she wasn't alone with that. She wasn't alone with that. Do you remember when Clinton was on Arsenio Hall? You remember this? And he broke out, and Clinton, all he had to do to secure the black vote was to get a saxophone out there and put some shades on, and now all of a sudden he's black. You remember that? How about this? Do you remember this book? Someone put out this book some years ago. Brother Bill. Calling him brother. President Clinton and the Politics of Race and Class by Darrell A. Carter. But let's go back for a second here to Toni Morrison. Let's go back here. Let me see if I can pull that up. I said, just for my memory's sake, I said, let me take a look at Toni Morrison's husband. Let me take a look at Toni Morrison. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. This is Toni Morrison's husband, ladies and gentlemen. This is Toni Morrison's husband. Or used to be her husband. I can't begin to tell you how tired I am to seeing these women out here, because I ain't going to even call them sisters. You want to transplant black maleness to a white man, Bill Clinton, while you're sleeping with one. And not to mention how she used to write about black men. Alice Walker is another one, but she ain't open her mouth, so ain't no need to go there with her. But this is her husband. Toni Morrison's husband. This is Toni Morrison's husband. And this dude, or rather, what's her name? Toni Morrison, again, equated Bill Clinton to a black man. He's a black man because he plays a saxophone. Oh, and he got in trouble for having sex in the White House. He got in trouble for that. So he's a black man. He got in trouble for pretty much desecrating, if you want to call it that, the White House. I mean, as if the White House is holy ground, but you understand what I'm saying. He's a black man. He's typical black man. With typical black man, always eating McDonald's. Eating junk food. Doesn't have a two-parent home. It's a black man, right? This is what they are portraying out here in the world. In the world, and the same voices are speaking today for black men. Same ones. If you're a black man out here, and you have a difference of opinion when it comes to this thing here, then we don't want to hear you. So they want so they are so desperate. Oh, let me, because see, I told y'all I came very prepared today. Even though I feel like I didn't, because there's so many other things I want to show you, but I want to keep it all on. I'm trying to keep it, because, again, you got to stay hot. You got to stay on point, because if you don't want to start losing people, they start going to sleep after a while. But let me pull this up for you. Oh, let me pull this up for you as soon as I get in here. I saw this. I said, I can't believe it. Now I can't believe it. I'm going to stop saying I can't believe it. I can't believe it now, because it's happened before. Here it is right here. Here it is right here. Let me pull this up. Look at this. Oh, not that. Look at this. The Observer. She's like us. She's like us. Now, let me speak to the black women for a second. Let me speak to you black women for a second, okay? Let me speak to you black women. Because, see, I have way more respect for black women than these people out here. I'm telling you. You know what this says to me? You notice that it says, she's like us. Let me say that again. It says, she's like us. It doesn't say she is us. When you say this, when you lead out with this, she's like us, what you are doing by saying that and making that a declaration is, we're not on the same level, but she's kind of like us. So you seeing yourself as someone that's lower than this individual. This says projection. This is what this says to me. Projection. You are projecting what you want to see in someone that you perceive that's better than you. So you got all of these black women, and you got some men up in there too, that are looking at her like, oh my God. She's, actually she's like us. Oh my God, she's actually like us. This is what this says. Where these women actually see themselves lesser than her. And you're willing to take the scraps. Oh, but there was other ones too that someone highlighted here. Oh, they were getting Kamala on the rise. This is Tribune, Philadelphia Tribune. They got her on there, and then you got this is the Amsterdam News. We're with her. VP makes historic bid for presidency. Defender. They got Sheila Jackson Lee on here. She ain't never looked like that. I'm sorry. They done did a whole lot of fake Photoshop on her. But anyway, and I, last time we got together, I played that audio of Sheila Jackson Lee and how she was talking down and cussing out the black male interns, and she calling them, you ain't nothing but just talking all down to them. But they love it. She's a powerful woman. She was a force of nature. Yeah. A sandstorm. Anyway, celebrating a life of service. Here's another one. The Bridge to the Future. And it goes through by way of an Indian woman who's married to a Jewish man. This is the bridge to the future. An Indian woman who's married to a Jewish man. Here's another one. These are black newspapers, I believe, by the way. Run, Kamala, run. Win, Kamala, win. Hey, that sounds a bit unbiased, don't you think? Here's another one. The Washington Informant. Vice President Kamala Harris gears up to lead Democratic Party as nominee after president withdraws. Oh, they excited, man. Anyway, let's continue on, because I have a whole lot more here on. I'm just going through my Twitter feed here. Which, by the way, Twitter, man, they had the nerve talking about they flagging my I don't know what your profile or whatever you did. They said, we suspect that you are doing some weird activity or something. I'm like, what? I'm just simply reading stuff. How is that weird? But they can have all this pornography on there. But anyway, let's see here. What do I have on here? This is, oh no, that's going off topic here. Okay, let me see here. Okay, so this one here, this is a clip from the white women's. This is the white women's. They got together and they excited to do their part to help get this Indian woman through. I want you to take a listen. And to be honest with y'all, I haven't even watched it because a lot of this, it just makes my stomach turn for real. I just can't stomach it. I cannot. But let's take a look. We're looking at this for the first time together. So let's check it out.
Ariel Fodor, affectionately known as Mrs. Frazzle, to her combined audience of over 1.5 million followers, is here to help gentle parent us through this election.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so honored to speak today. I am shaking to just be among such incredible company. We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is a really important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. No matter who you are all influencers in some way. So tonight, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts for getting involved in politics online and navigating the toxicity that comes with it. And spoiler alert, as much as the toxicity can come from the outside, it can come from us too. So first, don't isolate yourself. We can do our best work when we're in community together like we are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But don't make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on. So do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change. As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not.
And you know, there are black people out there that look at that and say, you know, this is what I really wanted. I really wanted this. This is, it's just such an answer to prayer. You have white women now that are actually saying that they want to be quiet and actually listen to black women. She said BIPOC. That's, you know, black, indigenous, whatever, right? That's what all that means. But she's saying black women. You know, as white women, we need to use our privilege to close our mouths and not say anything. And you got Negroes out here, a black man. Let me go and roll up on one of these women. Let me just say, I'm just going and, you know, we in the same elevator or something like that. And then I just, you know, and I dare look at them. They call the cops on me. You know what I'm saying? That, well, we going to open our mouths when it comes to you, but, you know, but black women, you know, we want to make sure that we let them speak. Let them, don't correct them. Let them speak. Do you kind of follow where this is going? There are people out there that don't realize or don't see Fool Road what actually leads you to destruction. If you drive on Fool Avenue, if you're ever in a car and you're using your GPS and the GPS says turn right on Fool Avenue, and you turn right on Fool Avenue, you will be a fool yourself to stay on Fool Avenue, because if you stay on Fool Avenue, guess what's going to happen? You're going to be a fool. And so when you got people out here that are pushing this narrative and saying, oh, don't correct black women. Don't you dare say anything about them. Don't say anything about them. This is their time. We got to be quiet and let them do. We're going to use our privilege. We're going to use our privilege and be quiet and let them speak, because they know exactly what's going on. They know exactly what we need in this hour. I'm not the one. And thankfully, there are a lot of other people that are saying the same thing. We're not the one. And so this is what you're hearing right now. And so they actually think they're doing something. These white people out there, I've been watching. Then the white men got together. They had the white dudes for Kamala. They getting together. And by the way, let me just touch on this too. Anytime when you hear, this is a little trick in language. I want you to be very clear of this. This is a little trick of language. When you hear people like Roland Martin or some of these other black talking heads out here saying like, yeah, we got 50,000 brothers together, you know, to support our sister, you know, or any of the women saying, well, we got whatever the amount was, thousands of black women or black sisters got together to support our sister. The key word here is sister. What they're saying really is we as brothers came to support our sister. What they're talking is in their boule talk, because they call themselves brothers and sisters. See, on Main Street, black people, traditionally, we will say, hey, bro, how you doing? Hey, sis, how you doing? That's how we talk on Main Street. But when the boule say it, they don't necessarily see you as brother or sister. They don't see you on the same level. They see Kamala as brother or as a sister, but they don't see you as a brother or sister. It's a difference. So anytime when I hear people saying, you know, like that, well, all the brothers, we got together. Yeah, frat brothers got together. And I'm telling you, y'all days are numbered. Let me just say this. Fraternities and sororities, your days are numbered. You are. Because what y'all have been doing, running this thing to the ground, running black folks who have a difference of opinion to the ground, that cannot last. It's not sustainable, because what you're really doing is destroying what you call the black community. You're destroying it. Because again, going back to this whole DEI stuff, again, you are also supporting lifestyles that contradict what builds black communities, build communities in the first place. You're literally supporting that. But you don't care, because your self-esteem is so low. People who are in these groups, first of all, number one, if anybody even made that accusation like, well, you're just jealous, trust me, listen, yours truly never on any metaverse, never saw myself lowering myself to the level where I said, I just want to be so I want to be accepted by people so much. I want to be accepted by these brothers so much. I'm willing for them to kick my behind over and over again and have them, and spank me and give me dog food and all this other foolishness, so that I can get brothers. My self-esteem is so broken and low. I got to do all of that. Listen, I'm not the one. I never was the one on that. So when I see people that are part of these organizations like that, and they're proud of the fact that they got their ass kicked over and over again so that they can be a part of a brotherhood, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? That's a brotherhood. And these are the very people that are trying to push narratives that are trying to override what you're saying. You get a difference of opinion. The other thing that happened a few years ago, the thing that we can't talk about on this platform, they were the leading voices on this thing. Have a difference of opinion? Oh, now you don't know what you're talking about. You need to go sit down somewhere. You need to go talk to all black doctors on this. And now we're seeing the aftermath of it. Now, all of a sudden, now they ain't nowhere to be found. Nobody wants to talk about it then. Nobody wants to have that conversation now. Anyway, let me continue here. Let me see. I'm just going through my Twitter here because I have a whole bunch of different things on here. This is DL Hughley. I'm playing these clips for y'all because I haven't watched them, and I need to pull on your strength so that I can watch them, because otherwise I wouldn't even watch. This is the first time I'm watching this video. DL Hughley did a whole whatever, because there was a tweet that he put out some years ago saying that black people are right and not trusting Kamala. Now all of a sudden he done did a whole 180, and now he's running his mouth again. Let me just say this: DL Hughley, on a personal level, for me, he's never been funny, and I don't care what his politics are, but he just never been funny. So when you get someone that's not ever been funny, and then now you're trying to give political advice, hey, you really need to go sit down. I mean, really. He's never been, literally never. Well, he was the king's economy. I don't care. Anyway, let me listen to him. This is DL Hughley now doing his moonwalk impersonation.
That was Mark Morrison, Return of the Mac. So Kamala Harris is sailing despite everybody's worries and fears and doubts. Oh, she's not, we don't know, and what's going to happen. She will be the Democratic nominee for president. She's already secured enough delegates to be the nominee, and she has done that before. She even has a vice president that she's chosen yet. I have said before, I used to repeat some of the same things ad nauseum that people are right now.
See, someone posted right there. Kamala Harris flames out. Black people didn't trust her, and they were wise not to. That's what he said back in, back in 2019.
Oh, she blocked up a lot of black men. I lived in this state my whole life. I had an occasion to talk to her on several occasions. I accused her on this radio station, on this network, on the same things that people are doing right now. And once I did my research and research isn't finding answers that edify the perspective you have. Research means generally that you want to disprove the thing you believe. That's what generally researchers try to disprove what they already believe to be true. And it's not trying to edify your perspective and find things. Kamala Harris did not, in fact, lock up the thousands of people that I said she did. I told that lie, and I have apologized to it. Not only have I apologized, I've said to her, not only am I going to keep apologizing because I think it did that much damage, I am going to do what I can do to make sure you become the 47th. At this time, I said to her when I apologized, I'm going to make sure you get elected. I didn't say re-elected. I said elected. And now here it is, that opportunity. To me, that is divine.
Shut up. Just shut up. Okay, so yeah, that 1,000, she locked up 1,000 people. I've heard different sides of that. So let's put that in the gray space, okay? But what is actually true is that Kamala Harris actually fought against the state of California to keep inmates working on cheap labor so that the state of California can enjoy cheap labor. They can benefit from it. That is true. You cannot get around that. So locking up 1,000 people. Okay, let's put that in the gray. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. Okay, so let's just put that where it is. If she didn't, let's just give the benefit of the doubt. She didn't do it. But what we do know is that her office did in fact fight against the state of California. When the state of California said, Kamala, you're going too far with this, having these inmates out here working in fields and stuff like that. And she was like, well, come on, it's free. It's cheap labor for us. That's true. But see, I ain't gonna say this dude. I did my research. Shut up. No, you didn't. Someone gave you a bag and you kept it moving. Simple as that. Someone gave you a bag and you kept it moving. All right, let's move on here. Let me check the comments here and see. I tell you, yeah, DL is one of those. It's like, man, just shut all the way up, man, for real. And then you got all the comedians and stuff coming out. I mean, not comedians, the what you call it, the rappers and stuff coming out. All of them need to be quiet. And here is another ad. This is Kamala again. Someone launching her campaign, and look at the platform she chose to do it on.
We are all in this together, and your vote is your power. So please make sure your voice is heard this November and register to vote at vote.gov.
Can I get an amen?
Amen. Now on with the show.
And remember, you better vote.
Oh, God. Okay. And remember, you better vote. But again, if you say anything about it, then you're the problem. Let's continue on here. Let's see what else we got here. Going through the news here. Thank you all for those that are just joining us. Really appreciate that. And take some time, go through the page and see, the channel. You see, we talk about all sorts of things on here. And if you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And because I know especially this week, we got quite a few videos that we're going to be putting out this week. OK, just so that you know. All right, so let's continue on. Let's see what else I have here. Give me just a moment here. This is oh, here we go. Here's another one here. Now, this is the interview that I was saying I want y'all to see. This is hold on, let me rewind it here. This is Sabrina Savati. I hope I'm saying it in the right. Anyway, she is interviewing a guy who actually wrote a book about Kamala Harris. I want you to take a listen. The clip is about 2 minutes and 11 seconds. And let me go ahead and bring that on the screen and take a listen to what he is saying here.
It's an understatement. It's not that he didn't support it. He actually denounced it. So during her 20...
Oh, she's okay. Let me set it up for you. He's talking about how when Kamala Harris, when she went on the Breakfast Club and someone asked, they said, I think Charlemagne asked, have you ever smoked weed or something like that? And she was like, come on, half of my family is Jamaican. Well, her father didn't really take that too kindly. And so, and this is where he picks up on that. Okay, so let me go ahead and play it.
It's an understatement. It's not that he didn't support it. He actually denounced it. So during her 2020 presidential campaign, she went on the Breakfast Club radio program, and they asked her if she'd ever smoked marijuana. Oh, of course. And then she follows up with, half my family's from Jamaica. What do you think? And that is what set off Donald Harris. And if you read his Reflections of a Jamaican Father, you'll understand why. He then came forward and he said he wanted to separate her entire Jamaican family from what he called a travesty of identity politics. He hated the stereotype of Jamaicans as joy seekers and lazy pot smokers, etc. And then if you read his essay, it looks an awful lot like Kamala lied in her autobiography. Now, she wrote an autobiography called The Truths We Hold. And in that autobiography, she talks about her parents' divorce. She says the only thing that they fought over was the books. Oh, that sounds sweet, right? They only fought over the books. Well, according to Donald Harris, they fought over something else, which was her and her younger sister, and who would get custody. There was an ugly custody battle. And Donald Harris believes the stereotype of him as a Caribbean man, as a black man, the stereotype that black men don't make good fathers, et cetera, was used against him and prevented him from getting custody and the ability to see his daughter and be part of their lives. And he uses some pretty intense language to describe how insulted he was by the entire proceeding, but basically the courts saw him as a black man and he did not get custody of his daughters, I should say. And he talks about that. It's a particularly painful point because, I mean, keep in mind, Donald Harris, this man taught at Stanford University. He's Dr. Donald Harris with a PhD. He was an advisor to presidents of Jamaica, right? So the fact that this stereotype of, this is a black man, this is a man from the Caribbean, he must not be a good dad, we'll give it to the mother, that particularly hurts, right? And so for her to invoke that stereotype when trying to gain credibility, when describing smoking marijuana, that's something that just didn't sit well with him. And that reveals a lot. It reveals quite a bit. And his essay, Reflections of a Jamaican Father, which I quote, is very interesting. And again, a lot of hints, a lot of things he won't come out and say. He will not do interviews. Trust me, I've looked into this, and he will not do interviews. But in that essay, he hints at various things. One thing he talks about is that he's very sad that Kamala never met her grandmother. Because her grandmother was a member of parliament. His mother was a member of parliament in Jamaica from the Labour Party.
Okay, so you heard that, and I actually read, I believe it was the article, maybe it was the article that they were quoting the article, but yeah, he talked about how, the impact that had as far as Kamala, talking about the dad now, the impact that had in their relationship, because here you have the legal system right before in real time discounting him because of his blackness, and how the legal system does when it always tends to favor the mother or the woman in the situation. And so, and look how far that has carried out, at the end of the day, when you look at, just how black men are perceived, particularly in this current movement that we see right now. But the father, he didn't like that. He didn't like that. And it's still out here. If you go online, you can find what he wrote about on that. Let me see what else I have. I actually have a clip. I'm going to go back. I'm going to take y'all back. I think this was like in the 80s, 90s. How many of y'all remember Tony Brown? Tony Brown's Journal. Okay, Tony Brown. Yeah, he was a kind of like he was like a social commentator. I mean, he talked about politics too, but he talked a little bit of both, I really like listening to him, back in the day. And there's a clip that someone uploaded, and I want to play that for you in a moment here. I'm just going through and see if I had anything else here. And I might turn on if you're interested in doing a call in, just put it in the chat, because otherwise I ain't gonna waste my time, y'all, and be waiting and begging people to call in. So if you want to call in, make sure you indicate that in the chat, and then I'll turn it on for you, and then we'll wait for you to call in if you want to comment on anything that we just talked about during this broadcast here. Okay. Let me see. Let me pull this up here. Okay, so here's the audio I want to play for you. Take a listen. This is Tony Brown. They said actually 40 years ago. Oh, I feel old. Take a listen to Tony Brown, and he's talking about, you know, the political process and how black people fit and all of that.
Every 4 years, blacks are told to vote for the Democrat running for president. When the Democrats' record is poor, as in the case of Jimmy Carter in 1980, they're told to vote for him anyway because he's less racist or more liberal than his opponent. The result is, in terms of political reality, not a very sophisticated approach to electoral politics. Following the Carter black leaders, most blacks, about 90% of those voting, went into the loser's circle behind the landslide loser. The results are so devastating that for the first time in years, there is active planning for a new role in future politics. I'm Tony Brown. In a moment, Republicans, Democrats, neither of the above. 58% of blacks voted in the presidential election of 1968. It dropped to 52% in 1972, went down to 49% in 1976, and in the 1980 elections, only 7 million, or 40% of eligible blacks, voted. It has become increasingly clear that blacks must reassess the nature of their participation in the political process, both in terms of a two-party system and a potential black independent movement. In 1976, while 52% of whites nationwide voted against Jimmy Carter and 55% of whites in the South did the same, 94% of blacks made his presidency possible with their one-sided support. In 1980, blacks were the only group to remain on the sinking Democratic ship, while every other element of the old Democratic coalition defected to the Reagan landslide. These failures and embarrassing politics have forced some to question whether protest was better than the political process in advancing the black cause. British Prime Minister William Gladstone said, quote, "We have no permanent friends, no permanent enemies, but only permanent interests," end of quote. If blacks keep that in mind and are careful of the vote less racism syndrome fostered by the Democrats, 1984 may hold more political promise. The logic goes like this. This white man is a Democrat, therefore he's a liberal, and all liberals like blacks. This white man is a conservative and a Republican, and at birth, racist genes invade the body of any little white baby born who is going to be a Republican and or a conservative. Therefore, vote less racism, vote Democratic. That is obviously absurd. We are told that a black political party is separatist and unrealistic. Can it be any more separatist and unrealistic than our one-party loyalty to a white-dominated structure? We embarrassed ourselves in 1976 by supporting a man who refused to reward us and followed the losers into the loser circle in the 1980 presidential sweepstakes. It does not have to be that way in 1984.
Wow, man. Wow. Wow. That's 40 years ago. Just to give you an idea, y'all, we're 40 years later and are still dealing with the same stuff. Still dealing with it. Let me check something else here for you, and I may turn the phone on for a moment, and I'll let y'all hear one more song from an album that we just dropped today over on SambaTree.com. Be on the lookout. We'll have an email going out soon for Samba Tree as well. I'm also have a newsletter. I kind of been occupied, y'all. We'll have a newsletter going out. Have some great information in there, and I'll be posting in there. So, be on the lookout for that. Let me take a look here and see. I had a story on here. Let me see. I don't even want to play it. I think I'm just going to let that go. I don't even want to. I really don't even want to play it. Yeah, stuff doesn't make you tired. I ain't no sense of making y'all tired. Tired with me. So I ain't gonna do that. So what we will do is let me get set up real quick. It only take about a minute. I will set things up here. Give me a moment. And if you would like to call in, the phone line will be open shortly. Okay. And you can call in if you have any questions, if you have any comments, you would like to chime in. Maybe it's something I forgot. you know, as I've been talking here, and you know, this will be your opportunity to call in and be a part of the broadcast today. And so, you know, don't be shy, don't be scared, you know, and even if you disagree, I don't care. It's fine. If you're someone that is planning on voting for, I don't care who, Obama, who knows? Because they still ain't had the, they still ain't had the thing yet. So who knows? But if you do plan on voting, you know, if you don't mind sharing who you're going to vote for and telling us why, do that. And trust me, I'm not going to argue you down on that. If that's your choice, that's your choice. I don't care. But we would like to, it would be nice to hear from other people if you have something that you would like to contribute, to add to the conversation. This will be your time to do it. Okay, so what I'll do first is let me get another one of my songs up here. This is the album, again, that we just dropped today. You'll find that over on sambatree.com. And this is the, hold on, where is it? The name of the album is called Course Correct. Let me get it up here, and I'll bring it up here right now. And that's where you can get it. It's $3.99. You get 7 songs. And let me find another song, and then I'm gonna put the phone up on the screen here shortly, and have someone call in. Have you guys call in, okay? Let me see which one I want to play. Hold on, let me see for a second. All right, I played that one earlier. Not that one. Okay, let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I'll play that one. This is called More Than Digital. More Than Digital. That's the name of this song. All right. So again, $3.99, you get 7 songs, and you can download it and enjoy and all that. There'll be a lot more coming soon too. So I'm looking for this phone number now to put on the screen. If you would like to call in and be a part of the conversation, we will welcome that. Why can't I find this thing? Hold on for a second, y'all. Sorry, y'all. Hold on for a second here. I'm trying to find this. There you go. All right. So, yeah, you can go ahead and call in if you like. Phone line is open. Remember, we only have one phone line, okay? So I don't have like any call screeners and all that stuff. That would be nice, but I don't, I ain't paying out that much. But if you have anything you want to add to the conversation, what have you been seeing out on these internet streets? What have your family been saying? Have your family you got family members pressuring you, telling you that you will not be welcome into the family if you don't vote a certain way? Are you a fraternity or sorority member? Maybe I'm getting it wrong. This is your time. Ain't nothing you can call away, and the number's there. Like I said, I ain't gonna stay on here too long, but if you want to call in, the number's right there on the screen. Again, this song that's playing right now is called More Than Digital. Oh, sorry, y'all. Okay, and let me get this one is I'm Good, Are You? That's the name of this one. got a call coming in right now. Hey, caller, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, brother. How are you?
All right. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Mm-hmm. What you got for us?
So, well, first of all, I'm just going to say this is a brother from Canada, the Canadian brother again. You know, so I'm just watching from the sidelines, seeing what's going on in the States. But, you know, what I'm seeing is it's just a mess. I just see an utter mess all over the place, you know. And I just see so many of our people just in a state of just confusion and loss. I could just say that. And I just want to point out two things, you know. First is the Jamaican thing. So I'm half Jamaican. My father's Jamaican and my mother's father's Jamaican. And so, and it pains me. It really does that people still have this stereotype that, oh, Jamaicans are lazy and we're smoking ganja. That's smoking ganja and that, like, Rastafarians smoking ganja. But it's just like, that's not it.
Right.
Like, none of my Jamaican relatives do that. Like, the only person I remember smoking was my grandfather, but he quit a long time ago when I was small.
Right.
You know? And so it's just that I can understand why Kamala's dad wrote what he wrote, you know, because it's crazy. And also with the black men stereotype that black men go to McDonald's and have single dad, like there's no father in the house, and this also applies to the Jamaican thing too. You know, it's like you know, and this is something about politics, period. You know, and you know, is that they don't know a clue about who we are as people of African descent. And they don't have no clue of what our cultures are until it's election time. Then they try to quickly gather as much information, and then they send you guys these the rappers, the Sexy Reds and Megan Stallions and stuff. And this is something that Malcolm X told a long time ago. You know, is that these people that in the black community, like these celebrities, like these trumpet players and stuff, are they say they're spokesmen, but these are puppets, as Malcolm put it. These are puppets. Like, I encourage everyone on this chat, everyone in the chat that is hearing me, to listen to that speech again, what Malcolm said, because it's really gonna really open your eyes, you know. And you know, and this you know, and as you pointed earlier, how the white dude, that lady, I don't remember what the lady that you pointed out who had a white husband, who was said he's a black person, you know.
Toni Morrison.
Oh, Toni Morrison. Okay. Like, that just it just shook my head, you know. It's like, yes, I understand, you know, love whoever you love, you know, no matter the color. Not gonna lie, in the past, and somewhat still do, but not a whole lot. I have a little bit of jungle fever. So, you know, but I don't go out of my way to go and denigrate black women, and that same place to black women, black women to us black men. Don't do that, you know. And it's just crazy that we don't get a say. And I think what this whole thing did, also this can go tie into a bit of feminism in a little bit too, is that once white women incorporated black women into these feminist problems, then things start to shift, because even in the feminist movement, in its early stages in time in history, I think black women were not getting equal treatment from white women, because look into like the 50s and 60s. Like black women were still getting, going through hell. And so, those are my comments of this. I have a question for you, brother. Hopefully you could answer. Like, where do you think, if God ever forbid, I don't know what's going to happen, that Kamala gets elected, where do you think the black Americans specifically, because this is in the United States, is going to head? Where do you think that the community is going to head, the culture and all these things is going to lead? Do you think it's going to just be a thing of history at that point if this happens? What's your thoughts on this?
I think if she were to win, well, number one, as far as the direction of the country, it's the direction of the country itself in general. I know you weren't asking this, but I'm going to talk the general and then specific. As far as the direction of the country and what these different world leaders, where they want to see America go, that's not going to stop. It's still going to go in that same direction, regardless if Kamala gets into office or Trump gets in office. It's still going to continue on the same trajectory. That's number one. Now, as it pertains to the black community itself, or what we call the black community, I can guarantee you it will get worse. And when I say worse, I mean, communication, particularly between black men and black women. Now, I'm not just saying that just as some kind of scare tactic. You heard me earlier in the broadcast. If you were here, I was saying, I was talking about DEI, and what DEI this is a policy that is being pushed, where it's, anytime you hear black people refer to DEI, they're referring to only the black portion of this policy. But this policy also is about pushing LGBT, is pushing men that want to identify as women. That it's also opening the doors for other, even more nefarious stuff. I mean, you got pedos out there that they're finding their home in the LGBT landscape. I mean, they've always been there, as far as I'm concerned. These are the things that, particularly as black men, real black men, we fight against. We want to preserve the home. We want to preserve, our women. We want our women. We love our women. Real black men. We love our women. We cherish our women. We want to see our women succeed and move forward in life and be big and do all the things that they've been created to do. We also are fierce defenders of our children. We want to protect our children. We don't want our children to be indoctrinated by, any kind of system that's telling them that it's okay to have their stuff chopped off. It's okay to have this added and all of this stuff. And what it does, you're creating mental, you're compounding on issues that need to be taken care of by other means. So it's actually debilitating our ability as protectors and providers of our families and our communities by pushing these types of policies. And when you have women like this, I'm saying political women, I'm being very specific with this because, again, it's not all black women that are for this bandwagon. You got a lot of black women that see this for what it is too. But by pushing these types of policies and people who are promising to push it even further, you're actually taking away our ability as men to do what we are here to do as well. I mentioned even earlier, she talked about in the first 100 days, she wants to push a policy that's similar to what's happening down in Australia, where they're confiscating guns and stuff like that. And, some people who are anti-gun may say, well, that's good. I'm glad to see that. But there are many cases, and I'm glad I'm talking because I actually have a story too that I want to share where there's a black man that was in Arizona Mall. There's Arizona Outlet. I want to play that story, and I'm going to tie it to one of the policies that she's pushing. But those are just kind of the highlights of what I see. Again, I'm not saying if Trump wins, everything's going to be gumdrops and lollipops and rainbows, but I think it's going to have a more negative impact on what we're seeing right now, like when you go on YouTube or social media, is black men versus black women and all this stuff. I think it's going to get even worse, because now those people who have a dim view of black men, now they're going to feel more empowered to continue down that trajectory. And it's not, I already see how this is going to play out. So it's not something that I'm, want to see. So anyway, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much. You're
welcome, brother.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and hang up, and thanks for the call. Thank you so much. And if you want to continue to call in, y'all, the phone line is open. I'm glad he called in, because I have there's another video here that I'm trying to find here. This is a black man. He's out here in Arizona, and he was sharing about something that happened to him. It was really scary hearing it, but it's something that it needs to be addressed. It needs to be discussed. I'm trying to find it right now. Let me see, because I sure enough downloaded it, and if I didn't download it, I bookmarked it. Let me see here. I'm gonna find this for you right quick. Anyway, this was in the state. This is right here in Arizona, and it involved his child. And so I'm trying to find it right now. Let me see. Shoot. All right, videos. Let me do that. Let me start, because I sure enough downloaded it. All right, maybe not. All right, let me go to TikTok here, and then let me see if I hold on for a second, because y'all need to see this. You definitely need to see this here. This is this one right here was really, it had me feeling some kind of way for real. Okay, this is it. I found it. Yo, so I'm gonna have to explain why that. Okay, this is it right here. I found it, y'all. Thank you for your patience here. Okay, let me bring this up on the screen. Just give me a moment here. Let me bring this on the screen. Again, this took place in Arizona, at Arizona Mills. And I can tell you right now, that mall, I don't even like going to that mall myself. You know how you go in some of these stores or some of these shopping centers, and it's like you just don't feel right. It's just something about it that's just like, I don't need to be here. Arizona Mills is like one of those stores. One of those places. I don't like even going in there. I've been in there a couple of times, but it's like, I can do without it. But anyway, I want you to listen to his story. This is a black man. He was in there with his child, and let me get it up on the screen here, and y'all can listen to it. Get it up on this. Anyway, congratulations to Simone Biles, man. That girl be killing it, boy. Anyway, let's go.
Yo, so I'm at Arizona Mills Mall.
Is this
my daughter? I take her into a toy store. Bless you, baby. I take her into a toy store, and we were there for a few minutes. Just wasn't feeling the vibe. It was a weird vibe from the kid, and we leave the toy store, and I swear to God, my daughter's like 2 steps behind me. I'm walking out the store. I notice a dude cutting me off from behind, like in between me and my daughter. So as I'm exiting the store, I look back, and he's touching the top of her head like this. And if I wouldn't have looked back, when I looked back, I already felt something. And this all happened in an instant. So I look back, and I catch him doing this over her head like he knew her. And it was some Mexican cat that didn't even speak English. So I'm going off. And first I had to, it happened so fast that I'm in shock. I just tell my daughter, come here. But everything's registering, right? Like that doesn't happen often. So my mind's like, if I hit this dude, like if I spaz, all they gonna see is me spazzing. They're not gonna see why I'm pissed. I don't even have to explain why that shit isn't okay. And so I walk a little bit towards the left out of the store, and I'm at Arizona Mills Mall, mind you. And my daughter sees some scooters. She hops on the scooters, and I turn my back. I look around. I look back at the store that we came out of, and sure enough, those the dude that touched her head came out, and there was a lady with him. there was a lady with him and then 2 other dudes, but the lady dispersed. It's like he told her something, like first of all, when they came out of the store, as soon as they came out, they looked in the direction that we left and they came this way, but he didn't see me standing like a ways, you know what I mean? Just watching them, and I wish I would have got that on camera, but like I said, I'm still in shock. So at this point, they're coming towards me, and when they finally notice me that I'm staring at them, bro, I wish I would have had that part recorded. I was still in shock, but I got video footage of them, and that's what I'm going to show you. And their mannerisms, their behavior, like I said, when they got to me, that's when I started going off, because that's when I was like, nah, I saw what I saw. I know I saw what I saw, and I'm not backing down. So I'm yelling in his face. I'm like, don't touch kids in here. Don't do that. Like, you don't do, you know, but as I'm explaining like what he did wrong, I'm like, nigga, you know what you did. Like, so now I want to beat his ass, and all people can see is just this angry black guy, right? Typical situation. So then I just say, fuck it. And I start recording them, and their behavior, if you're a parent, like, you know, man, part 2 coming up.
So this is what you're seeing right now. What he described, basically, this is what's coming in. Now, I'm not saying everybody that's crossing the border is in this, is trying to take children away. But there is an element of these individuals who are into that is coming over like that. And it's increased as the border has remained open. And as I've said on this platform many times, I don't just blame Democrats. I also blame Republicans on that too, because they both benefit from it. So they just play ping pong with it. But anybody that's getting up here and saying that these people, we just got to leave the gate wide open and let these people just come on in, and we're going to fund them and give them a place to stay and give them a warm meal and all this other stuff, and you're allowing this kind of stuff coming in. This is the direct impact that this is having, particularly on black folks. Now, he wasn't in the black community. I mean, he was in Arizona Mills. That ain't actually located in the black community. But what I'm saying is that you'll find an uptick of these types of crimes that a lot of times black people black Americans are getting blamed for, but it ain't us all the time that's committing it. Now, we do some stupid stuff. Our black people Americans here do some stupid stuff. Okay, let's just admit to that. But you also have others that are coming in that aren't from here that are doing this kind of stuff. And then when it start impacting your children, now what are you going to do? Well, let's blame the police, but don't you dare blame President Kamala Harris on that, because she ain't had nothing to do with that. You see how this goes? I have one more video I do want to share. I told you this is why we call it the big broadcast, because as I'm talking right now, I'm remembering some things that I wanted to share with y'all. Let me see if I can find this video here. All right, because this ties into another video that I saw that I want to play for y'all. It was, let me see. Which one am I looking for? What am I looking for? What am I looking for? Let me see which one it was. Give me a moment here, because you definitely need to see this one here. Let's see. This is a video. It was on somebody's channel here. And it's not. Is this? Oh, wait a minute. I'm almost there, y'all. Let me see. Black man, good one. Boy, did this. Hold on. Let me see if this is it. Hold on. If this ain't it, then I'll just tell you about what I saw. Hold on for a second. I'm watching it right now. I'm just gonna Oh yeah. This is it. 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 I'm going to set this up for you, and then we're going to end off on this. I'm going to go ahead and turn the phone off. Nobody want to call in. That's all right. I could take a hint. Anyway, I'm just playing with y'all. But anyway, let me play this one for you. Now, this is on, This guy, his name is O'Shea Duke Jackson. And he had this video on there on his platform. There was an interview of a woman. I'm just setting it up for you, of this woman who she basically pushed for this black mayor to come in the office. And now that the black mayor has come into office, now all of a sudden he's flinging open the doors open for all these illegals to come in. And now she having second thoughts or whatever. But this is the cycle. This is the cycle. It's like, but you shouldn't be surprised, because these politicians were telling you on the front end exactly what they were going to do. Let me see here. Let me get this up here. Okay, here it is right here. All right, so here you go.
Chicago. And Cata Trust explains exactly how she even got involved in being a Brandon Johnson opponent.
So yeah, could you explain that to the people that may just not know?
Well, let me just say this. I'm just a regular person here from the city of Chicago. I'm not a person that's known. And how I got involved with the migrant crisis is we got a phone call from our alderman letting us know that Amerson Park, which is the park where my children grew up playing football. My husband coached football and baseball at that park. We had a call saying that park was going to be taken away from the community and used as a migrant shelter. And we immediately got on the phone. We started calling the people in the community. We called all of our elected officials. We called past and former players, coaches, parents. And we, we're like, hey, listen, they're trying to take our park away. We're going to have to rally and pull ourselves together and try to see if we can prevent this from happening.
Now, again, this is a woman that campaigned for Brandon. This is a black woman that supported Brandon. But she learned something from this experience.
And like I said, Brandon Johnson was a lesson for not just myself, but should be a lesson for black folks. And I say this now, we have a tendency to vote for people because they look like us. We vote for people because they're Democrats. And, traditionally, black people always support Democrats. And so we kind of go along with that. And one of the things that happened with Brandon Johnson was he was really a lesson to me and probably to other blacks that we can't just be out here voting for people because they look like us. And we definitely can't be supporting people just because they're Democrats, because Brandon Johnson, as well as President Biden, as well as our Governor Pritzker, are showing us what the Democratic Party really feels about black people.
She learned.
There you go. So here's another, so there are numbers of black people now that are waking up and realizing this. Again, I'm not advocating that that's why you need to vote for Republicans. I'm just simply saying that, when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, as they say, that's called insanity. And that's exactly, and expecting a different result, that's called insanity. And fortunately, there are a lot of people that are waking up. A lot of what you're seeing right now, a lot of these people that are all gassed up about Kamala, whatever, it's largely being fueled by fraternities, sorority members, and Masonic people. And that's really the main. And then who they're pushing are people who are, the people who don't really invest a whole lot of time in doing actual research or really asking real questions and really challenging themselves. What is government supposed to do versus what am I supposed to do? So you got that little mix in there, like DL Hughley. He's all over the place. I do the research, and no, you didn't. So anyway, I had some other stuff on here. I was going to look at some other history here. I was going to take you back to Bill Clinton during that day when he was pushing his own crime bill during that time. And guess who? Hello, who was pushing him to do it? It was black people, black preachers, black entertainers that were pushing him to push this crime bill. And now going backwards, looking back, now nobody wants to talk about that. But they push these policies saying, trust us, we know what we're doing. But every time we trust them, it blows up in our face. But nobody wants to go back and say clean up on aisle on 15. You understand what I'm saying? So anyway, so that's it. I think that's enough there for today. And what I may do is try to chop some of the segments up in this video and get that out, and repost some of this stuff on here on YouTube. So I really appreciate you guys joining us today on this broadcast day. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You guys take care. I will see you again soon. You take care. We got a lot more coming on up this week, so be on the lookout, okay? Especially be paying attention to our community page, all right? Take care. See you again soon.